What's good? Y'all know who it is. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Matthew Shack, live from Los Angeles. And welcome to Matthew Shack Unfiltered. The NFL, man, uh, has made some rule changes, man. And we've been complaining about this particular rule change um, that the NFL decided to do something about. But in typical NFL fashion, they didn't fix the shit. They just they just adjusted it. The overtime rules, man, and possessions in overtime. For the longest time, probably until let me see, probably like around 1979, you would play until somebody won the game. Okay, I've seen the overtime games that went into double overtime in NFL. Um, if you, for an example, if you want to go here on YouTube and you want to go and check out uh, 1977, the Oakland Raiders versus the Baltimore Colts playoff game. That game was a double overtime win by the Raiders. Um, but I actually watched it on YouTube, and it was double overtime, man. It went to six quarters, man. It was amazing. And then after that, they had sudden death because they're like, look, we can't have all these. If we're trying to be in prime time, we can't have games being until, like basketball or anything else. So we've had that for probably the past 40 years. But then the last couple of years in the playoffs, we've had teams just not even have an opportunity to win a game once these quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, or you get the ball in a quarterback's hands like him, or uh, you know, uh, you know, Joe Burrow, or Josh Allen, Tom Brady. You know, you're not getting the ball back, man. So the NFL decided to go ahead and implement a two possession rule because, of course, those of us who really know football understand that the coin flip is everything on an overtime game. Um, so, but in the regular season, they're not changing it. They're going to keep it exactly the same. And I'm like, man, y'all always want to try to keep some drama. Like they always want to try to keep some bullshit going. But uh, if you look at the numbers and you look at the statistics, first possession in an overtime game is way more critical than it is in a playoff game. And I know you're saying, well, shit, it's the playoffs, but no, you just got to look at the numbers. The team that wins the coin toss in overtime in regular season wins 55% of the time. In the playoffs, it's 90% of the time because you have the top quarterbacks in the NFL that are in the playoffs. Yeah, you don't have hardly no teams that don't have no, great quarterbacks in playing the game. So once they get the ball, that's your ass. You know, so it's probably more critical that they implement it in this way. Plus, I think it's a proving ground. They said that shoot, I think they said it was 15 in the last couple of years. It's been like 15 overtime games in playoffs, and the team that got the ball first won 11 times out of 15 or something like that. It was pretty high, maybe even higher than that. But you know, the NFL is going to keep us on pins and needles, man. Those regular season games, you got to play defense. You still have to play defense. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, well, you know what, man, it's your job to have your team be defensively capable of stopping an offensive team. You need to be in there. Your defense need to go in there and put some helmets, put some pads on cats, and lay some helmets out to make sure these dudes don't get down this field, man. Play some defense. But in the playoffs, man, that old one and done, man, it's not going to happen. At least this season. So I think eventually they will implement that rule, man. I think football has got to the point, and these athletes are so physically fit and technically skilled that you can't just have these guys play their asses off for four quarters and then go into an overtime and then they get one possession and then everybody got to go home. So um, we'll see how it goes, man. I hope it works out, but We get to see more football, man, at least in the playoffs. But regular season, man, your defense has to handle their business. Your captains got to go out there and they got to call the right side of the coin. That's what it is. All right, man. Love all y'all out there, man. Matthew Shack Unfiltered. Salute.